Hey everybody, it's your boy, and this week, Spitting Image got into trouble with left-wingers, in particular the environmentalists, although there's a lot of overlap. And let's be fair, most leftists are environmentalists. Now, for those of you who don't know what Spitting Image is a British political satire show which uses puppets to lampoon and make fun of the politics of the day. In particular, the puppets are known to be in that kind of caricature style that you see in newspapers all around the world. It's very famous. In fact, it's so famous that even Genesis used the puppets for their famous music video, Land of Confusion, because Phil Collins saw that he was parodied on Spitting Image one night and loved it so much, he wanted that for the band's next video. Keep that in mind, by the way. Spitting Image was originally first broadcast back in the early to mid 1980s and then ended in 1996, maybe 1997, just before Tony Blair was elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And since then, I think there was like one revival, but it was CGI, and the problem with it was it couldn't remain relevant because CGI takes ages to actually animate and render, whereas scripts could be written and puppets could be used within literally a moment's notice, at least for production standards anyway. So it didn't last very long. I think it lasted a season. But it's returned and it's back to its roots with puppets. Basically, it was kind of like South Park before South Park, because I think the way they made their episodes was kind of like what the guys at South Park, where they basically see what's going on in the news and try to make episodes as quickly as possible for that week, I do believe. We first saw Trump's caricature, which is pretty much what Trump looks like. I mean, let's be honest, you don't need to do much to make him look silly. But recently we saw some new puppets on display, in particular Greta Thunberg, and it was that which provoked the ire of the left. Here is the picture of Greta Thunberg. What is the issue with it, guys? Thing is, there's nothing visually that is the problem. It's the fact that they did it in the first place. Because as we all know, Greta Thunberg is autistic. And as a result, it is apparently bigoted to caricature a autistic person. Basically, these leftists have took it upon themselves to treat autistic people as if we have physical characteristics that are unique to ourselves and not to other people. We're basically like Down syndrome people. At least that's in one case I've seen. And then in other cases, the fact that they even made a caricature of a autistic person is just bigoted. Why? Because reasons. How dare you make a caricature of a 17-year-old child who has autism? Don't they have any class? Don't they have morals? How dare they do such a thing? How dare you? That is wrong. That is bigoted. That is ableist. Now, I'm sure that Spitting Image have actually lampooned autistic people in the past, but not because they have autism, but because they're public figures. They could be celebrities, they could be politicians, it could be literally anything. I can guarantee you, in the huge roster of people they've lampooned, there will be autistic people. They lampooned Ronald Reagan so hard in the 1980s, especially when he began to show signs of having Alzheimer's.
What exactly are you doing over here?
Well, sir, let me answer this way. I don't know. Pretty smart for a guy of 103, huh?
But to be honest, nobody knew he had it. I don't think even he knew that he had it until late 80s, just before he was due to leave office after serving his second term. But nonetheless, they have done things like this, but nobody cares. Mainly because it's Ronald Reagan, and he's, well, Ronald Reagan, right wing. But because it's a leftist that they're lampooning, and they just so happen to be pretty young, that means it's bad because they have autism and they're young. That's ridiculous. Just because she has autism doesn't mean she can't be made fun of. I myself am on the spectrum, probably more high functioning than her, believe it or not, although I'm not sure how bad she actually is. She seems pretty high functioning herself. She's able to get up in front of people and deliver speeches, and she's also able to do interviews and things like that. So she's not exactly worse for wear when it comes to her particular condition. Moreover, she's a public figure. She puts herself out there intentionally. Whether we like it or not, she has made the decision alongside her parents because she's basically a woman, okay? She started this when she was 16. She's now 17. For all intents and purposes, this is a young woman making her own life decisions. We all expect people of this age to start making their own decisions in life, don't we? Especially after they leave school. So why is it that this is somehow not something that we should give Greta, but to everybody else? I had to do that when I was 16. And because she's a public figure, and because she's said some pretty stupid things when it comes to environmentalism and things like that, and the way that she presents herself writes itself for satire. She's so sanctimonious. She's so, you must do exactly what we say, otherwise the world is going to end. How dare you? How dare you? And the puppet shows that with her pointing her finger at you, saying, how dare you? How dare you? Like a school teacher, that kind of thing. In fact, her puppet is probably one of the least offensive offensive spitting image puppets I've ever seen. This is the same show that has portrayed politicians as slugs, and recently they have portrayed Priti Patel as a vampire. That's a genius. I didn't even know she looked like a vampire until I saw that puppet. She is a vampire. But this puppet, there's not really much they need to do with her. They don't need to contort her and make her look worse than she actually is, like they did with Genesis. Look at the caricatures of Genesis. Phil Collins looks terrible, but he loved it because it was funny. He saw the humour in it. The Greta puppet doesn't need to be the worst caricature in the world because the way she is already is a joke. She is a symbol of that left-wing environmentalist who thinks they can lecture you on how to save the planet while they're not actually saving the planet, and in their real lives, they're actually doing things that are harmful for the environment. And their solutions themselves won't fix the problem either. The way she looks in real life, and the way that the puppet portrays that, is a look of not just her, but millions of them. So no, this is not bigoted. I am not offended by this. I found it hilarious when I first saw it. But you know what's the most ironic thing about this whole story? Greta Thunberg apparently likes the caricature. She likes the puppet. Modern outrage culture always shoots itself in the foot. There is no autistic look, because I saw this person who was talking to Dr. Anna McCann on Twitter say that there's an autistic look and that this is bigoted because of that. I'm sorry, there is no aesthetic look that can determine if a person is autistic. Yes, maybe some autistic people have a particular look about them, which could be influenced by the autism, but if you were to see them not emoting, or you wouldn't know they had it. It's not like Rett syndrome, which is on the spectrum, which does have physical abnormalities, but people with autism and Asperger's and things like that, they don't have physical traits, which you can discern as autistic. It's more about behaviour, which can manifest itself through body language and things like that, but that does not make it a look. So to reiterate, spitting image is spot on, it's not bigoted, it's perfectly fine. If you're a public figure and you put yourself out there and you do the things that you do, you will get mockery. Somebody will find some way to make fun of you, and you've got to put up with it, I'm afraid, because that's life, that's satire. People are going to do that to you. I am technically speaking a public figure. I have people making fun of me all the time. I just have to grin and bear it. Some of it I find hilarious. Some of it I don't find funny at all. But people can do it. They can make fun of me. I can't stop them. And besides, if you don't like it, don't watch the show. Nobody's stopping you. So anyway, that's all I've got for today, so I'll see you all later.